Greetings, fellow sinners. Today I'm just making a video response to FreeThinker3161 and his most recent video titled Tax the Churches. Before I go any further, first let me say that though we disagree a lot, FreeThinker3161 and I have remained civil and calm, and as far as internet friends can go, we've been nothing but respectful to each other. He's a very good guy. And to all 12 of my subscribers and anyone who subscribes afterwards that watches this, I highly suggest you watch his videos and possibly give him a subscription as well. He used to be a Christian. I'm not quite sure what happened in his life, but something caused him to question and ultimately lose his faith. But it doesn't change the fact that he's a very smart, very funny, very well thought out guy who can't spell or use grammar worth a crap. Just kidding. Just thought throw that out there for you guys and maybe set the stage a little bit that I in no way mean this as a harmful or attack response. This is just a friendly response to the one side of his argument. I am going to thereby give the other side. Okay, one of the first things that I noticed is FreeThinker3161 did a lot of studying of Christian churches in his video, talking about Joel Osteen and Lee Strobel and Bill Hybels' churches, and some of the bigger mainstream Christian churches throughout the country. And what I find funny that he left out was synagogues, was temples, was whatever you call a Scientologist a meeting place, or kingdom halls for Jehovah's Witnesses. The only thing that he seemed to dwell on was the Christian church. And that's fine, I understand that, but when you talk about you can't tax one religion without taxing them all, otherwise you're definitely in the wrong country for that. Another thing I noticed was that he forgot to take into consideration, or at least he didn't elaborate on them in his video, the ramifications of taxing a church. Let me list some of those ramifications for you. Number one, once you tax a church, you can no longer keep a church out of matters of state. You have decided to break that barrier, that proverbial wall between church and state. Once you've broken that barrier, you're welcoming in the free reign of any church to come in and in one form or another take over a government, be it through elections, through whatever. You're forgetting that that's absolutely why we have this separation of church and state, is to keep churches out of the matters of the state, and in reverse to keep the state out of the matters of the church. The second thing that you're not taking into account is that no longer would you be able to sue to keep the words "In God We Trust" off of our money, to try to get the words "Under God" out of our Pledge of Allegiance, to try to get a cross in the middle of the desert that was erected 50-some years ago to honor dead soldiers from World War II. I'll post a link over there for you guys to check out. They'll explain that a little bit more. Just a quick synopsis is that there's a cross in the middle of a desert it's in memoriam. It was placed by our government 50-some years ago to honor World War II soldiers. And some guy that's never been there, that's never even seen it in person, filed a complaint with the ACLU. The ACLU has since filed a lawsuit and is trying to force the government to go up to the middle of nowhere and remove this because the government was the one that put it there. As far as I'm concerned, you're absolutely wasting taxpayers' time and money, and there's no ramifications on the part of the person that filed this suit. But check it out, make your decision for yourself. Next thing that you're not taking into consideration is no longer can you fight or sue to try to get the Ten Commandments taken off of the walls of any court, of any courthouse, of any federal building, anything like that, because you're taxing the churches. They have their right to their say inside your government now. I think another thing that you're not taking into consideration is now you can't keep prayer out of school. Schools can have organized prayer. They can have organized prayer time. They can have organized prayer meetings before and after football games, baseball games, sporting events, softball games, soccer games, you name it. Any sporting event, track and field, anything. The organized prayer can happen before and after, and there's nothing you can say about it because now you're taking money from the church and you've decided that that there's no longer a separation of church and state. And finally, another thing that I noticed in your video was that, that somehow you made a correlation that these churches make a lot of money and it's time that they start paying taxes. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, every member of that church is most likely a tax-paying member of society already. You don't need to tax them again. We don't need to tax them on their charitable contributions. And you made reference to people taking tax cuts based on their contributions to charity and religious charities, for that matter. Now, it's pretty presumptuous to assume that just because the law is there that people can take it, that they do take it. I can only speak for myself, but I can tell you right now that most Christians give that money freely and expect nothing in return from any government or any tax break. That money is given and donated as what's called a tithe. But it's still pretty presumptuous to assume that that's, you know, the measly couple $100s that I give a year, that I expect some kind of tax break from it. You can keep your stupid tax money, all right? What are you going to do? Paint another stripe on a road or tar and pebble another backwoods country road? Or you're going to put up another mile marker sign every tenth of a mile along the freeway that shows exactly where you are because some bureaucrat had a few extra dollars to spend that week? So whatever, you can keep that. And as far as taxing all churches, you're out of your mind if you think pastors are rich like Joel Osteen or Bill Hybels or Lee Strobel or Rick Warren. If you think most pastors in America make that kind of money, I noticed somebody commented that most pastors make about $100,000 a year. I don't know what part of the country you live in. Most pastors I've met live just above the poverty line. My church in particular, our pastor doesn't even draw a paycheck from. The only thing we pay is for his health insurance. Okay? He has another job, a counseling job that he does by day, and he does it wholeheartedly because he believes in the Word and he believes in the power of Christ giving him the ability to do something else with his time. And giving him the time to do something else with his abilities. So, you know, I don't mean that, I probably sounded pretty mean there, but yours isn't the first video that I've seen like this, and I just wanted to make sure that you've taken the time to think this all the way through, because just because you see a big church somewhere means that somebody's not paying enough taxes. I think that's absolute garbage, especially in this country where, you know, I don't judge Bill Gates for making his billions of dollars and he should be paying a higher percentage of taxes than me. That's not how that works. If he pays 30% and I pay 30% and Joe the plumber pays 30% and FreeThinker3161 pays 30%, that's fair. If you want to tax Bill Gates 70% and you want to tax me 40% and you want to tax Joe the plumber 20%, that's garbage. That's absolute garbage. That has no place in this country at all, and it never has. I don't know if you realize this, but when the Bostonians participated in the Boston Tea Party, the true patriots of this country, they were fighting over a 2% tax. 2%. I mean, we're talking about if you made $1, that's 2 cents. And they had enough. They'd had enough of taxation, so they got themselves together and dumped a bunch of tea in a harbor. Some of your subscribers are probably going to tell me that there's more to the story than that, and I know that there is, but you only get 10 minutes for these videos, and I want to try to stay on topic as much as possible. My final point to you, FreeThinker3161, is that it's funny that I'm actually making this video to you because about a month ago I saw this guy make a video on YouTube and he angered me so bad that I actually said some things that I wish I could take back. And this guy responded with a kind-heartedness and said maybe I took more out of his video than I should have, and I responded with a little bit of kindness to him, and that led to the Reprieve and FreeThinker3161 forging a little bit of an online friendship here. So, and I've noticed the little bit of a trend here is that if I want to get an atheist to respond to me, it seems that I have to insult them. And like I said, I've got 12 subscribers, I think 8 of which are atheists. And I think almost to a man and woman, and somehow I've had to insult you to entice you to come look at my videos. So, but once you see them, then usually you subscribe. So I take that for what it's worth. I can't figure it out, but I just want to say thank you as well for being the first guy to also entice me to making a response video. I've made other videos where I've had conversations, especially with Thoughtful Atheist, one of your subscribers as well, and one of mine. But I think that you do a good job. I think you're a smart guy, and I think you're often misled, as I believe with your religion, as I believe you are with your idea of taxing churches. Doesn't mean anything personal against you. Thanks for watching. This has been The Reprieve, and as always, true peace begins with how we treat our children.